All right, right now we're moving the tomato and the cantaloupe plants outside, putting them on a trailer, and we'll leave them out here until we get ready to start planting. We'll keep them under the shed for the most part. These cool nights will help them harden up, toughen them up a little before they get ready to be planted. They'll grow a lot in the last couple of days if they're watered good and it's warm, so we don't want to let them get too big. The watermelons are not too bad about getting too big. Right now they're still inside. We'll probably move them out later. These are the plants here the next day. We'll keep them under the shed till we get ready to take them to the field. Keep them from drying out. It's March 31st, Friday, and we're kind of waiting on planting until we've got a round of possible severe weather coming in tonight. So I want to wait until after that. Unfortunately, we're usually dodging severe weather the whole month of April and May, but I figure we might as well wait and try to miss this one. So we've moved our plants into the shop here because it's going to be real windy and then possible storming. So if I put them under the shed and the rain starts blowing sideways or wind, then they could still be damaged. So we'll put them inside here and lock them up today and take them back out tomorrow. We've moved the watermelons out too on the trailer. So everything that we're going to get planted this upcoming week is here on the trailer. All right, we've already showed you these tomatoes, cantaloupes, tomatoes, and then these are watermelon transplants right there. The weather's not looking too great either for this upcoming 7-day once we start planting, so hopefully we'll get them in. I know we'll be able to get in a couple of days, and then after that it looks like it could get a lot of rain, so hopefully they're wrong, and maybe they'll change it by the time we get there. But that's just part of being a farmer, unfortunately. You're constantly dodging the weather and planning around it, and then when you plan around it, they change the forecast or it doesn't do what you think it's going to do. So it's hard to plan too far ahead, and that's just how it is with all farmers, unfortunately. While we're kind of waiting today, we're going to get all the trays ready in the greenhouse for the next round of watermelons and cantaloupes and our okra. As soon as we get the watermelons and cantaloupes planted in the field, we immediately come back and plant the second ones in the greenhouse. So we're getting the trays ready for that, as well as the okra, and we're also going to plant our second bell pepper today. So that's what we're doing, and like I said, we're just kind of waiting till the weather passes before we can get out in the field. Hopefully it won't rain too much tonight and we can start tomorrow, which is April 1st. Well, it's April 1st and we missed our severe weather last night, thank goodness. I mean, it didn't even get a one drop of sprinkle. So we could have started a couple of days ago, but that's okay. We'll get our tomatoes planted today. It's Saturday, and we'll start on the cantaloupes Monday. We've got more rain coming in Sunday night. Hopefully it won't be too wet for us to get out there Monday morning, but that's the plan, headed to the field. All right, here's our first sweet corn coming up. It's been about 15 days. Obviously we had some weekend there where it was really cold, but that's about normal. We'll get our next ones planted here in the next few days. When we're punching the holes in the plastic, we do it two different ways. The first way is any crop that has a stake required, we punch those holes by hand. And I know that sounds kind of primitive and slow, but we need to put those plants pretty precisely where we want them so we don't hit the drip tape with the stake. because that's not a good deal when you go through there and start staking everything and realize you've made a bunch of holes in the drip tape. So we also have a wheel, different wheels that punch the holes that we use with the tractor, and we do those with the crops that don't have a stake. Now we can put the wheel pretty close to where we want it, but it's not quite as exact as punching it by hand. And the hand punching is a little slow, but it's not that big a deal in the long run. So I'm gonna show you that. All right, when we're planting tomatoes or cucumbers or eggplant or peppers, they all have to be staked. So we want that hole just right on the side of the crown. You can see the crown on the plastic is right here. We want it right there next to the crown on the opposite side of the drip tape. Remember, the drip tape's over here, and when you turn around and come this way, it's over here coming back the other direction. So we have to know what side the drip tape is on each row, and we want that hole right on the edge of the crown on the opposite side. So when we put a stake between every other plant, we don't hit the drip tape. We made a couple of these hole punchers ourselves. It's 18 inches this way, and that little cotton picker spindle that we welded on the end marks the next hole. And you punch it right here. We've got a wedge. You can step on it. We've got one going this way that marks at 24 inches. Tomatoes are on 18-inch spacing. So it really goes pretty fast. It's not too bad. All right, 18 inches from one tomato to the next. And obviously you can't tell in the video, but we've pre-watered this. Very good moisture right here. That's why we get the water lines hooked up ahead of time, so we don't have to worry about watering. And if we do, we can turn it on right now and water. This will be our first planting of tomatoes. In the greenhouse, we've planted 3,000 tomato plants right now. Remember, I told you we've got two varieties, Amelia and Roadster, and we'll split them up on the north and the south end, mark them, and we'll know what's what. Out of those 3,000 tomato plants, we'll save some for extras for replants. You always have to come back and replant some. And hopefully we won't get any storm damage. That's when we, at times, have had to replant a lot. But normally, under normal conditions, you'll have to replant a few here and there for the first week or so. So we won't actually plant 3,000 in the first planting, but it'll be close to that. Then our second planting here in a few weeks will be the same amount. And so we'll have 2 plantings of tomatoes total. Just so everybody understands, you know, we do all these different plantings so we don't have too much ready at one time, and we can kind of spread out the supply throughout the summer. So that's why we plant some, come back and plant some more later. So we do that with everything. I hope y'all enjoy the Hispanic music sprinkled throughout the video. My guys, they love their music. They put their little speakers on their hip with their Bluetooth and play their songs all day long while they're working. I think it keeps them happy, but you'll hear it. I've been hearing it for many years, and I can't tell you the first song, but they know them and love them and sing, and keeps them happy. So enjoy the music. All right, what they do is they drop the plants in the hole and then come back and make good plant to soil contact there and squeeze them in, you can tell that plant is tight right around where there with the dirt squeezed around it. That's what we want, good plant to soil contact. This is kind of the right size that I like on the height of the tomato plants. You know, if they were a little bigger, they might be a little more sturdy, but also they could also be a little more lanky, and we're in the wide open out here and the wind is always a problem, especially this time of the year. So you don't want them to be just falling over all the time because the wind is keeping them that way. They'll go through a shock. It takes them about a week to really catch hold and start taking off. So they'll go from looking nice to kind of looking not so nice, and that's normal. That's just kind of a shock to their system. And then they'll green up and start taking off. All right, we got done. It's about noon on Saturday. We got the tomatoes planted. We're gonna come back Monday morning and start on the cantaloupes. I did decide to turn the water on. I changed my mind because it's windy and it may be windy tomorrow. We won't be back out here till Monday morning, so we'll let them water them for a little while. And you got to make sure that there's enough water in that hole where you plant because they don't have any root system yet. So see y'all on Monday. Well, it's a little bit of change of plans. It's not Monday, it's Sunday afternoon. I decided when I got home from church that I probably should go ahead and plant the second sweet corn. The rain tonight is looking more and more like it may be kind of heavy, and then it's going to rain again on Wednesday and after the rest of the week, and I was afraid I couldn't get it in this week. So if I want to keep my spacing right on all my planting intervals of my corn, then I need to get it in now. So I'm back here at it doing that, and then we'll get it sprayed and be back out here tomorrow morning trying to get the cantaloupes planted. Even if it's wet, we can punch them by hand if we have to. Normally we're going to punch the holes with the tractor, but we'll have to see how wet it is. All right, it's Monday morning, and last night on Sunday night we had a lot of rain and some pretty bad weather, a little bit of hail, but I don't think we got really any damage. So far I haven't found any, but that's one reason why I wanted to plant the corn Sunday afternoon, was because I was afraid it was going to do this. We've got more rain coming in Wednesday through Saturday, so it's kind of a mess, but we're back out here. We're going to plant anyway. We got the cantaloupes started today. We just got to punch the holes by hand. I'm hoping maybe tomorrow we can get the tractor out here and punch the holes for the watermelons, but we'll have to wait and see. These are the cantaloupe plants. You can see the footprints on the top of the plastic that shows you how it's wet, although it really dries pretty good. This field drains so good, it just stays wet on the end, but the water runs off. We had 2.5 inches, and it's, it's sand right there. You can't hardly even tell it, but it's definitely wet on the other end. That's why we can't get the tractor out here. The cantaloupes are 18 inches apart, just like the tomatoes, and we plant just about the same amount of cantaloupes as we do tomatoes on the first planting. We've got possible severe weather again Wednesday morning, maybe before daylight, and then pretty good chance of rain Wednesday through Saturday. These transplants are so sensitive when you first plant them. They're not real strong, and so you get a bad storm and it can break a lot of them off, which we've had that multiple times before. Once they get established, then they're stronger, and it's not quite as an issue as it is when they're young and tender. So that's kind of the battle that we face every year, and April is just terrible with the severe weather and the risk, and every time it rains there's a risk, so you can't ever really get around the risk in the forecast. So that's just part of it, and that's part of it that I don't like. It's Tuesday, April 4th, and we're going to try the hole punching with the tractor today. It's still a little bit wet on the end, but I think we can do it, and it'll save us some time. We won't have to punch all these holes by hand. So I'm going to show you what the wheel looks like and how it works. Pretty simple. All right, this is our wheel here. 24 inches on the watermelons, on these red watermelons. That's what we space them. We've got several different wheels. We just made this hitch right here ourselves to put the wheel on, and we can take the wheel on and off and switch the different wheels. We've got a 18-inch wheel, a 24-inch, and a 36-inch wheel. And depending on what we're planting, and that's the spacing that we use. It's offset just a little bit, just like we did on the hand punching. It's offset so we don't hit that drip tape. And we always have to know which row we're on and what side of the drip tape that it's on that row, so we'll know which direction to go. All right, you can see how it offsets it a little bit off of the crown, but not quite as precisely as the hand punching, so that's why we hand punch the others, but this is good right here. All right, these will be the little watermelon plants, 24-inch spacing on them. Remember I told you that from this row to this row is 12 foot 8 inches. We talked about that earlier in the videos a couple of weeks ago. And when they're 24 inches apart, we like to have 25 square feet on the red watermelons of spacing. So you got your 2 feet by your 12 and a half. So that gives you 25 square foot per plant. All right, we've got enough holes punched for today. Like I told you earlier, it's gonna rain tomorrow, so I hope we can get them finished this week, because there's also rain chances a couple of days after that. But we'll get about half of them done today. I'm gonna leave it with the guys and let them work on the watermelons. I'm headed to the peaches to get them sprayed again before it rains tomorrow. Hey, what we've got coming up that you can look forward to seeing probably in the next week or two is we've got to put out fungicide in the holes where we planted the tomatoes. We have to inject some insecticide through our drip lines. We've got to get the tomatoes staked, the peppers and the eggplant planted. We've got to get the purple hull peas planted, our first round of those, and we're going to need some dry weather on that for sure. It won't be too much longer before we start thinning the peaches. We'll have to keep a close eye on them. They're not quite there yet, but it won't be too much longer. And we've got to get caught up in the greenhouse. We'll probably do some of that tomorrow if it's raining, and then do some more next week. So that's kind of what's coming up soon. I appreciate y'all watching. If y'all would subscribe to our channel, we'd appreciate it. You know, when you subscribe, it will give you a notification if you have your notifications turned on every time we put up a new video. So that's kind of one of the reasons why we ask you to do that. At the time that I'm filming this right now, we've got Easter coming up. So I just want everybody to know that Good Friday and Easter is not a 3-day weekend and an Easter egg hunt. You know, on Good Friday, we celebrate that Jesus Christ died for your sin and mine on that cross. And on Easter Sunday morning, he rose out of that grave and he's alive. And he wants a relationship with you. So I couldn't skip over the fact that it was Easter without mentioning that. I'll be in church this Sunday. I hope you will too, celebrating Easter Sunday. See y'all next time.